lovely to see you, Mel. You've had a busy time going around the country, visiting Conservative associations, telling people that you're not the underdog or you're an underdog that has got a bite. I think
well, absolutely. Look, David Cameron, who had that famous victory in 2005, was 25-1 with the bookies 1 week before the conference at which he gave that speech and swept all before him. This is a long race, and I'm coming up the rails, all right?
All right. Why do it, though, Mel? I mean, what's it all about? Because, yes, you did make your name not only as Work and Pensions Secretary, you introduced a lot of measures on worklessness, which I think were certainly welcomed warmly by the right of the party. And you were Mr Broadcast Round, so we saw you a lot on GB News during the election campaign. I don't think anyone had previously singled you out as somebody with leadership ambitions. What's it all about?
So I think we're at a critical juncture for our party. We've clearly lost our way very badly. And I think in terms of reuniting the party, getting the right political platform together and reorganising ourselves as a fighting machine, I am best placed to deliver that and to connect with the electorate. We've got to rediscover our vision as a party. Now, my background was I went into Parliament aged 48. Everybody tells me we need politicians that haven't been politicians all their lives. We want people with real-world experience. Well, that is me. What I did was I went out and set up my own businesses here in the UK and also in the United States. That meant getting together with people around the kitchen table, getting ideas together, unifying people, enthusing them, climbing those mountains and, making things happen. And I believe that's what the Conservative Party really needs now. Now, work and pensions that you mentioned, Camilla, I've driven some of the most fundamental reforms in a generation, seeing billions of pounds saved from the welfare budget at the same time as having hundreds of thousands of people on that journey to work. That's the level of reform and drive for reform that we need in the Conservative Party now.
Those reforms are welcome, but funny enough, I had a little conversation with John Redwood before he came on air and we were just talking about you and the welfare reforms. The only problem with them were that they were stalled by a year. So Redwood was saying there were lots of righties in the party who wanted them to be implemented immediately and then they were pushed into 2025. So you haven't necessarily landed them because Labour could now reverse them, couldn't they?
So, look, I was 18 months in post. Reform that is fundamental and affects millions of people and their livelihoods. They're big decisions. You have to consult on them quite properly. Otherwise, you get challenged in the courts and they get overturned. So you have to do things in the right way. But we proceeded at pace. Now, the Office for Budget Responsibility, which is an independent body, assesses my reforms as meaning 400,000 fewer people going into those long-term sickness and disability benefits than would otherwise be the case. And they've also scored, with the Treasury, billions of pounds worth of savings. Now, you can't do that at the flick of a switch. It takes a lot of hard work, working with officials to get that done, but I got it done.
It was right for anti-racism protesters to protest outside the headquarters of Reform UK this weekend.
I think if there are peaceful demonstrations, that is fine.
But Reform
in
UK,
general.
Basically, they're conflating Nigel Farage and Reform with the far
Nigel
right.
Farage,
Is he far right?
I've been very vocal on Nigel Farage and his role in these riots and his comments on it. I think he has been very wrong and misguided to have called into question, for example, early on the truthfulness of the police around what happened in that awful situation in Southport.
Is he far right?
I wouldn't describe Nigel Farage in those terms.
So
but he's a populist.
Why are anti-racism protesters
that's
conflating
that's a question for them. If there's peaceful protest, it's peaceful process. And that we're a country that allows free speech and protest, and we should stand by that.
Final cue.
But populism is the thing that has to be called out here, Camilla.
Well, populism's quite popular, isn't it? If you had been more populist in the Tories, you might have won the election.
No, there's a distinction here. Having popular policies is one thing, and we should strive for those, absolutely. But being a populist means setting up a them against us, the bogeyman, the people that aren't being truthful for you, the police that aren't being fair, the government that's not on your side.
We're going to into law and order in just a minute, and we're running out of time.
It gets in the way of the truth.
What do you think about people who have been online and maybe incited people to riot, then being put in prison? Is that a good use of prison, our crowded prison space? Or would you rather see them on the streets repairing the damage?
We now have to accept that the online world is part of the real world in the sense that it leads to real consequences. And where people do that kind of thing, they should face the full force of the law.
Mel Stride, thank you. We got through a lot.
We did. I wish we had more time.
Good to see you on a different kind of broadcast round in the GB News studio, and good luck in the leadership race. Thank you very much.